again. Just so you know, got my meter stick. This is a truck. You'll understand that down the road. So we're going to graph lines in slope-intercept form. So how do you go about doing that? Well, you guys are probably not going to need too much of a refresher on this. I'll go real quick. First off, what's slope-intercept form? Well, here's the beautiful thing about mathematicians. When they give you some sort of thing, they don't sugarcoat it with crazy terms. Slope-intercept form is called that because I look at it or use it and I know the slope and I know the y-intercept. Or if I know the slope or know the y-intercept, I can write it in that form. See, real fancy, right? Slope-intercept. So here's the deal. This m value, as you all know, and if you watched the video before, this is your slope. Now B, please tell me that you learned down the road, B is not your y-intercept. 0 B is your y-intercept. That's very important. Y-intercept is a point. It's just a point where the line crosses the y-axis. That's it. All lines cross the y-axis except for vertical lines. Well, most vertical lines. So that's it. It's that simple. So we're going to do two things today. One, I'm going to give you a line in slope-intercept form. We're going to graph it. Two, I'm going to write an equation in slope-intercept form from a line that's up there. So let's start with one. We'll just pick one out of the blue, throw it up, and graph it. So let's take, actually, yeah, you can see up there. So let's take y equals negative 2/3 x plus 5. Graph it. So the nice thing is you look at that and go, hey, it's in y equals mx plus b form. It's in slope-intercept form, which means I can graph it. I can pull out the slope, I can pull out the y-intercept. We start kind of with the second thing, the y-intercept. So my y-intercept in this case is 0, 5. My slope, as you know, is negative 2/3. So I'm going to start by plotting my y-intercept. My y-intercept is 0, 5. That is where it crosses the y-axis. My slope is negative 2/3, which, as you know, if you have a negative slope, that means we are going down then over. Hopefully you know that. Keep in mind, anytime you have a negative fraction, you can put it with the numerator or the denominator. It does not matter. You cannot put it with both. When it comes to slopes, I would suggest you always put it with the numerator. So since that is negative 2, that tells me that my rise is down 2. So I'm going to go down 2, 1, 2. My run is positive 3, which means I go to the right, 1, 2, 3. You don't want to do both negative or you're going to go down to the left, and that looks like a positive slope. We went down, we went to the right. I'm going to count it again because, hey, I like more points. Down 2, over 1, 2, 3. And I can do that all day if I wanted to. I like to get at least 3 points. That gives me a nice, beautiful line. It's that simple. Keep in mind a couple things. Don't let them fool you in anything. If I get an equation that looks like this, y equals 7/6 x, and you go, oh, there's no b. You guys know the way around that. That just means it's plus 0. If they give you something like y equals x plus 7, and then you go, there's no slope. Yeah, there is. That's a 1. Okay? So all regular math still applies when you're coming to these things. If there's nothing added on, well, that's 0. If there's nothing in front of the x, well, that's a 1. It's that simple. Okay? All right. So last thing that we want to do is now I'm going to give you an equation that's already graphed, or I'm sorry, a line that's already graphed. You're going to write the equation of it. So all I'm going to do is, let's make one up. Let's go here to, wow, that one's almost dead, to there. Okay, so there's one. Now, a little tricky. So, and it's going to be ugly. I just wanted to go straight to the ugliness because this is a review for you. So I'm going to go ahead and go, all right, I'm going to write the equation of this in slope-intercept form. How do I do that? Well, I'm going to go, all right, well, that's y equals mx plus b. Slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form. I only need slope, y-intercept. Start by finding the slope. Can I find a slope from a line that's graphed? Yes, we know it's a 4-step process. Step 1, is that slope positive or negative? Well, it's going downhill. That means it's negative. Now I need my slope triangle. I can go down, I can go over, down. I'm going to go over and down simply because if I go the other way, I'm going to run into my slope that I'm writing. So I count this up. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. Boom. Okay, cool. Let's roll. So my rise or my delta y is 5. That's my rise. So that's negative 5. Over my run is positive 8 or 8. It's that simple, okay? Keep in mind, since it's negative, it stays with the numerator. So there's my slope. Let's drop it in my equation. Y equals negative 5/8 x plus 90 my b. Cool. So all I do is I go find my y-intercept, which is, oh, it's there. Where is that? Huh. Looks like it's above 3, but it's not like at 3. Somewhere between 3 and 4. Can I take a guess? Is that good enough? Of course not. This is math class. We can't just take a guess. Now, if I could see that point, if I knew that point, and I could just say, oh yeah, it is this one, then I could put it in and be done. When I don't have that and I'm not done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, how do I find that? Well, here's your equation. This works for every coordinate on that line if I knew b. Well, why don't we just take the coordinate we know, plug it in for x and y, solve for b. Let's do it. So this is 2, 2. Well, that's an easy one. Let's plug that in. My y value is 2. My x value is 2. Solve. So 2 equals negative 5/8 times 2 is negative 10/8 or negative 5/4. Oh, you don't like fractions. If you don't like fractions, you don't have a calculator at home. Desmos.com, DESMOS, scientific calculator. Pull that up. You'll see it looks just like the other guys, the TI-30s we use. 2 equals negative 5/4 plus b. Awesome. Now what? Well, we got to solve for b, so we got to get rid of this 5/4. So we're going to add 5/4 to both sides. Add 5/4. Ooh, that looks scary. 2 plus 5/4. We can write it as 2 and 5/4. Or we could go ahead and convert it if you wanted to. It's up to you. I prefer to write it this way and convert. So that gives me b. The only problem is 5/4 is an improper fraction. What's 2 and 5/4? Well, that's simple. That's 2 and 1 and 1/4. So that gives me 3 and 1/4. Before I go ahead and say, that's cool, that's awesome, I ask myself, does that make sense for my b value? Did I say that cross just above 3? Yeah, I'm cool with that. So my y equals negative 5/8 x plus 3 and 1/4. Now, I know a lot of you had Algebra 1A with Mrs. Keller last year. If you used point slope form instead of slope intercept form when it came to this and then converted, you can do it that way too. I'll have a video up about point slope form if you want to look at it. Choose which one works for you, roll with it. This is a review. See ya.